History is a fragile thing, a delicate tapestry woven from countless individual stories and pivotal events. A series of moments balanced precariously on a razor's edge, where the slightest shift could alter everything. The Second World War, as we remember it, fundamentally forged the modern world, shaping its political landscape and societal structures. It began with the thunder of Blitzkrieg rolling relentlessly across Poland in 1939, a terrifying display of mechanized warfare. Nation after nation, seemingly powerless to resist, fell under the oppressive shadow of the swastika. France, once a bastion of European power, capitulated in a matter of weeks, a stunning and demoralizing defeat. Across the continent, darkness seemed unstoppable, threatening to engulf all that was good and decent. Yet, in the skies above Britain, a defiant stand was being made. A handful of brave pilots, outnumbered but resolute, held back the seemingly invincible Luftwaffe. They proved to the world that the German war machine, for all its might, was not invincible, offering a beacon of hope in a dark time. On the Eastern Front, a brutal and unforgiving struggle unfolded. Hitler's ill-fated invasion of the Soviet Union marked a turning point in the war. It bled the Wehrmacht dry in the snows of Stalingrad, a fatal miscalculation that would ultimately seal their doom. D-Day, June 6, 1944. A date etched forever in the annals of history. It was the largest amphibious invasion in history, a daring and complex operation. Thousands upon thousands of Allied soldiers stormed Normandy's heavily defended beaches, facing a hail of enemy fire. This courageous assault cracked the seemingly impenetrable foundations of Fortress Europe, paving the way for liberation. The war in Europe finally ended amidst the ruins of Berlin, a testament to the destructive power of conflict. It ended with Hitler's suicide in his bunker, and the unconditional surrender of Germany to the Allied forces. This is the history we know, the narrative that has been passed down through generations. Allied victory, the triumph of freedom and democracy over the dark forces of fascism and tyranny. It's a story cemented by the harrowing liberation of Nazi concentration camps, revealing the full extent of the regime's horrors. It's a story of the Nuremberg trials, where war criminals were held accountable for their atrocities, and the establishment of a new world order based on international cooperation. We built monuments and memorials to this hard-won victory as symbols of remembrance and gratitude. We vowed never to forget the immense cost of freedom, the sacrifices made by so many. But it's crucial to remember that this outcome, the world we know today, was never preordained or guaranteed. It was the direct result of countless acts of extraordinary bravery and selflessness on the battlefield. It was also the product of strategic gambles, calculated risks, and, yes, even the mistakes made by the enemy. To truly understand and appreciate the peace and prosperity we inherited, we must dare to imagine the world that might have been, the alternate reality that could have easily come to pass. What if just one crucial moment, one pivotal decision had turned out differently? The fate of the world, the future of humanity, hung by a single fragile thread. The Battle of Britain. A pivotal moment. It was a desperate battle for survival, a nation standing alone against a seemingly unstoppable force. The fate of the free world hung in the balance. What if the Luftwaffe had maintained its focus, relentlessly targeting RAF airfields, systematically dismantling Britain's air defenses? What if they had succeeded in crippling fighter command, grounding the Spitfires and Hurricanes that stood in their way? Operation Sea Lion, the planned invasion of Britain, could have followed swiftly on its heels, and Britain, starved of air cover and facing overwhelming force, might have fallen, plunging Europe into an even darker age. On the Eastern Front, the vast and brutal struggle between Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union. What if Moscow, the heart of Russia, had fallen to the Wehrmacht before the brutal winter set in, before the Soviets could mount their desperate defense? With Soviet resources, the oil, the industry, the manpower, now under Nazi control, Germany's war machine would have become nearly limitless, an unstoppable juggernaut crushing all resistance. And on D-Day, the most ambitious amphibious invasion in history. What if German intelligence, instead of being misled by Allied deception, had correctly guessed the true landing zone, anticipating the assault on Normandy? What if the panzer divisions, held back by Hitler's caution, had been unleashed immediately, crashing into the Allied forces as they struggled ashore? The Allies, caught in a deadly crossfire, could have been annihilated on the beaches, their hopes of liberating Europe dashed against the sand. Each of these moments, seemingly small in the grand scheme, was a hinge of fate, A point where history could have swung in a drastically different direction. A different decision made in the heat of battle, a change in weather, a sudden storm disrupting carefully laid plans, a moment's hesitation, a missed opportunity, a crucial piece of intelligence overlooked. Any of these could have been enough to send history veering into darkness towards a future we can scarcely imagine. Allied victory was not inevitable. It was not a foregone conclusion written in the stars. It was earned through blood, through unimaginable suffering on countless battlefields. It was earned through sacrifice, the ultimate sacrifice of millions who gave their lives for freedom, and through sheer dumb luck. The world we live in, with all its imperfections, was fought for, not given freely. The alternative is a chilling prospect, a world shrouded in the perpetual twilight of a victorious Third Reich, a world where freedom is a forgotten memory. To truly appreciate the world we inhabit, we must confront the terrifying possibilities of what might have been, the dark paths not taken. History's path is never certain. It is a winding road full of unexpected turns and unforeseen consequences. In a world where Germany stands victorious, Europe's map is violently redrawn. The Greater Germanic Reich stretches from France to the Urals. Paris and London are mere provincial outposts under Gestapo watch. The Slavic East is colonized, its people enslaved or exterminated for German settlers. The British Empire collapses, its colonies carved up or plunged into chaos. Mussolini's Italy and Imperial Japan become uneasy partners, dividing the world into rival spheres. The United States, isolated and divided, faces internal strife as fascist sympathizers clash with defenders of democracy. International institutions vanish. Berlin dictates global affairs. Power is absolute, enforced by ruthless military might. The New World Order is one of enforced silence, not peace. The future is dictated by a single triumphant Führer. Daily life in the victorious Reich is a study in contradictions. For pure Germans, there's an illusion of prosperity. Clean streets, grand architecture, and technological marvels. But comfort is exchanged for conformity. Obedience is the highest virtue. The Gestapo's shadow is everywhere. Dissent means disappearance. Culture is sterilized, education is indoctrination, and art serves the state. Innovation thrives only where it serves the regime. Rockets become weapons, not symbols of exploration. For the conquered, life is an open-air prison. Cultures erased, families torn apart, perpetual fear. The Reich's prosperity is built on exploitation and suffering. The shining cities are monuments to a brutal system. Beneath the surface, terror is the true foundation. The Third Reich's victory spreads authoritarianism worldwide. Fragile democracies collapse. Dictatorships rise, mimicking the Reich's methods. Secret police, propaganda, and ruthless suppression. Liberty becomes rare. Surveillance and control are total. Identification systems track every movement. Privacy vanishes. Civil liberties are extinguished. The state's will is absolute. International law is meaningless. Racial hierarchy and conquest are the new norms. The world is divided into masters and servants, justified by ideology. The human spirit is tested by constant fear and oppression. Peace exists, but it's the peace of the graveyard, stagnant, suffocating, and built on the ashes of freedom. The silence of the oppressed is the world's defining sound. Even under totalitarian rule, the flame of freedom endures. Resistance movements form, small, secretive, and constantly hunted. In occupied cities, brave souls risk everything for scraps of liberty. Pamphlets, sabotage, forbidden news. Survival demands new methods. Coded messages, dead drops, ancient spycraft. Trust is rare. The struggle is lonely and dangerous. Within the Reich, dissent simmers. Intellectuals, artists, and even officers form secret societies, preserving forbidden history. The global resistance fights with information, not armies. Exiles and sympathizers in free lands smuggle news, break propaganda walls, and offer hope. This fragile network is a lifeline, reminding millions that tyranny is not the final chapter. The human spirit cannot be fully crushed. The future of a Reich-ruled world, a chilling prospect, isn't it? A world where the twisted ideology of the Third Reich has not only survived but thrived, casting a long, dark shadow across the globe. Branches into grim possibilities, each more unsettling than the last. The choices made by individuals, nations, and even entire civilizations determine which path becomes reality. One path: slow decay. Without new conquests, the regime stagnates, its iron grip loosening as resources dwindle and the initial fervor fades. Corruption festers, and a power struggle shatters the empire from within, leaving behind a fractured and broken landscape. Another, a perpetual Cold War. The German and Japanese empires, once allies, become rivals in a global technological standoff, each vying for dominance in a world carved up between them. Citizens trapped in a digital dystopia, their every move monitored, their thoughts controlled, their freedoms non-existent. Or perhaps a global uprising. Seeds of resistance blossom into revolution, fueled by the unwavering spirit of those who refuse to be silenced. As the regime falters, its foundations weakened by years of oppression and injustice. Oppressed masses rise and the empire collapses in chaos, a testament to the enduring power of the human will. Each future is shaped by the choices of those who dare to resist, by the courage of individuals who stand up against tyranny. Reflecting on this alternate history is chilling, but necessary, a stark reminder of what could have been. Our world was not inevitable. It was forged through struggle and sacrifice. Freedom is fragile and must be defended, not just on the battlefield but in our hearts and minds. The victory of 1945 was a beginning, not an end. It gave us a chance to build a world based on liberty, equality, and dignity. The ghosts of this alternate past warn us. Darkness awaits when good people do nothing. The price of unchecked power is the loss of everything we hold dear. History's lessons are written in the choices we make. The future is always ours to shape, and it is our responsibility to ensure that it is a future worthy of the sacrifices made to achieve it.